Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. To make this little cupboard, I'm going to be using these 2-litre soft drink bottle boxes, and I'm sorry, but my footage, I didn't realise the camera had stopped filming, and I've done most of the box, so I'm going to just explain to you how I've actually done it. So the first thing I've done is I've taken some of the spare box and I've portioned it off into 3 centimetre sections. So I've got 3 centimetres, then goes 6, 9, 12, and the last one I've made to make it 14.5 centimetres instead of 15, so that when you collapse the box, and I've scored it all so it's easy to collapse, so when you fold the box over, you've got your piece that goes on the inside, which is the shorter piece, so that you get a nice square. So I've made 4 of those pieces and I've stuck them at the bottom of the box like that, just to raise it up so that when I do the door, I've got a nice clearance. On the box itself, I've taken to make it so that it's a 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and then the smaller section underneath. So I've gone with 1.5 to 3, 4.5, and then 5 centimetres, and I've just cut that section out of the box. So these side pieces have only got 4, so it goes 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and then a small one underneath, so you can glue it in, which is what I've done with the whole side of it. I'm going to try and find another box that I can show you exactly how to do it, because it's a little bit hard to understand what I'm talking about. So I've made it going all the way around the box in exactly the same way. So I found a spare box and I've opened it all out so that I can show you what to do. So for the first ones, we're going to be marking at 1.5, 3 centimetres, 4.5, and then 5.5. So that's the up, over, down the back, and under is where we're going to be gluing it. And then just draw the lines like that. So now that we've got all our lines marked, now we must mark the bottom part of the box as well in exactly the same manner. So I've marked the bottom of the box as well. Now you need to do the same pattern on the opposite side of the box, on the length, and at the top on the box that way as well. Now when it comes time to cutting the box, you're going to be cutting along the 5.5 centimetre line, so you're going to be cutting out this whole section of the box. Now just bear in mind that when you're cutting, it's better to do the long side as the long pieces, because as you can see at the bottom here, it crosses over in this square section. Now these parts are going to form the side support, so the bottom one is going to be short of that small section, because you're cutting the box all the way down from that section down to the last line, so just to that one. So this is the only small section that you'll have at the bottom, so you have to make a spare piece so that you can fill the gap on either side of the box once this has all been cut and folded over. So as you can see, the sides are the solid ones all the way down to the bottom, and when you have a look at the bottom one, you've left this line, this piece here intact, so that one is completely full. But the inside of the box, as you can see, I've put this small extra piece in the side there and over here as well. It's not very noticeable when you paint it, but you will have those small holes in the side just here. And to make the door, I've done the same thing by taking the 1.5 pieces of cardboard, scored them and folded them so that they've got the little piece like that, and then glued them all the way around on the sides. And I've taken an extra piece and glued it in the center at the front, so that when I turn the box over, I've got a place to put my door handle. And then I've painted everything black. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. So the door fits in quite nicely like that. And then I'm going to be making some little hinges and a door handle, which I haven't done yet, so that I'll be able to show you. I've just got a spare piece of cardboard that I'm going to be putting inside to secure that a little bit better, because as you can see, these boxes have got a little hole at the bottom, so I'm just covering that hole. I've glued a piece of cardboard into the bottom and into the top of the box. To make my hinges for my doors, I've got some calico, and I'm going to be making my hinges so that they're 7 centimeters long, but I'm going to just do this all in one strip. So I'm going to be cutting off 10 centimeters by 42 centimeters. I give myself a little bit extra just in case I need more. I've cut my 10 centimeter strip of calico out, and now to make it a little bit more rigid for working with, I'm going to be painting it on the one side with some liquid floor polish. The little pieces of calico are quite dry, and as you can see, they're quite nice and firm now. So now what I'm using is the larger of the skewers. And then I'm cutting them at 7.5 centimeters. So I've cut one of them, and I'm going to be using that as a template. I've cut all my little pieces of material the same size as the sticks, and I'm going to just fold them in half, and then I'm going to be gluing these sticks in with hot glue, and then I'm going to sew along this line as well. I'm using one of these circular needles, and I've taken some thread and I've doubled it and then thread it through, so I've got 4 pieces going through so that it's nice and strong. And then I'm just going to do a tacking stitch to go through so that my piece is tucked in looking like that. To make my door handle, I've got a plastic drinking straw, and I've got some gold duct tape, and all I'm doing is taking the straw and rolling it in the duct tape. So just lining it up at the end, and then just roll the straw a little bit in the duct tape so that it covers the straw nicely, and cut that off. And then just do 2 pieces like that, and then I'm just going to trim the straw off. I've got the little piece like that. Now I've done 2 of them, and what I've done is I've cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut this one in half again, so I've got a quarter of the straw, so just eyeballing the quarter. So you've got your 2 pieces like that. I'm using a 1.57 millimeter wire, and I'm going to be cutting it at 21 centimeters because the little piece that goes behind on the door is about 2 centimeters wide, and you need something for turning over. So you've got your 21 centimeters cut. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take one of the small ones and thread that on, and then you're going to put the big one on, and then the small one. So you've got them lined up like that. So roughly putting it in the middle, and then we're going to shift the little one down and bend on the section at the end there, we're going to bend the wire inward. So we've got a square like that. So the little one is going to go onto the end piece like that, and then we put the big one back on, and then we bend the other side the same. So holding the pliers there again, we're going to bend the wire like that, and then put that on, and there's our little door handle ready to be placed onto the door. So now I've left quite a long leg on here because the thickness of the door is about 2 centimeters, so about 2.5 centimeters, and then I've got quite a bit for a turnover, so I can then secure it by. To decorate my door, I've cut thin strips of the gold duct tape, and I'm just going to be gluing those on. So I'm going to glue my duct tape along the sides, going in by 1 centimeter all the way around. For the corners, I'm cutting them at 45-degree angles so that I get a nice clean finish in the corner. To get the 45-degree angle, I'm just overlapping my tape like that, and then I'm going to be cutting it. So I'm cutting both of them exactly the same, just through like that. I've glued all the duct tape on now, and that's what it looks like. Now I'm just going to flip it over, and as I said to you, I glued that little extra piece in there, which is where the handle is going to go, so I can secure it properly. So just flipping it over, and now what I'm going to do is find the position that I want it to go in, which will be about there. Then I'm going to take a little screwdriver and poke the holes into the cardboard. So I've got my little handle through, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the wires so that it holds it in place. So I've bent both the wires down, and now there's my little handle in place. To secure my wires down, I'm going to be using gaffer tape. So now the wires are all nice and secure. I'm not going to poke anybody. To put my little hinges on, I'm going to be using maxi nails because it's quite nice and strong. And I'm going to start by putting my hinges onto my door frame first, and then I'll attach it to the actual cupboard. And now I'm going to be gluing the door on. So I've put the glue onto the hinges, and now I'm going to just place that into the cupboard. The next thing I'm going to be doing is marking it exactly the same because I want to put supports in for my shelf. So I'm marking it at 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, and this one is going to be just at 7, because for the support to make it go round completely you need to have 5 folds on it. So just mark your paper up like that and then draw the lines. Once you've drawn your lines in, I'm just using a metal ruler to score the cardboard. So just score your lines and then bend them, so it's easy to have a bigger piece of paper, and then all you're doing is putting something flat on it and then folding it upward. Now that I've got all the pieces bent, I'm going to be cutting this small section off so I can glue it. So I've got my piece cut off. Now before you glue this one, measure the distance inside the box. So I'm cutting this one at 27 centimeters, and then I'll check it before I glue it that it's the right length for the box. So it's quite good, and now I'm going to glue that. So now all you have to do is collapse it all in along all the score marks, wrap it all over, make sure you get a nice square, and then I'm going to be gluing along here and squishing it together like that. So now I've got it all glued together, and I've got my little support. Now you need to make 2 of those. I've placed my supports on the inside of the cupboard now, and now I'm just going to glue those in. So I've taken a level and leveled them so that they are at the same height as well. To make my shelf, I'm just using some of the spare pieces of cardboard. So I've cut 2 pieces at 25 centimeters, and the width of them is 22 centimeters, and I'm just going to glue those 2 together with some hot glue. For the rest of the shelf, I've got one of the boxes which I've opened, and I'm going to be trimming the sides and cutting the width by 22 centimeters, so that when I fold the box over, I'm encasing my pieces inside there, which will give me a nice strong shelf. I've glued my 2 pieces together, and now what I'm doing is I'm measuring the distance or the height of the 2 boxes, which is 1 centimeter, and on my main box that I'm going to be folding in, so that I can get a nice square shape to the shelf. On the fold line that I've already got, I'm going to be measuring 1 centimeter down and scoring it so I can get a nice clean square fold to the box. I scored my box and folded it, so I've got a nice square finish to that. And now I'm going to take the pieces of cardboard that I cut, and I'm going to glue them inside, so that when I put the shelf in, it's got this really nice clean edge to it. So for the back of the box, I'm doing the same thing. I've measured and scored along there, and now I'm going to just trim it to the right size. So I've got my first piece in, and it closes up nicely, and what I've done now is I've marked exactly where it lines up there, and I've scored that section and then closed it in. And now what I'm going to do is cut it off on the section over here. So I'm just going to mark that and cut that off, and then glue it all together with hot glue. I've glued it all together, and now you can see I have a really nice strong little shelf. So I can now put it inside my little box. And there's the shelf in. And as you can see, it's got a really nice smooth finish on that. I just painted the little hinges black so that they're not so obvious, and my little cupboard is finished. And there's my little cupboard completed now, and as you can see, it's quite nice and neat inside, and you can paint it. At the moment I'm not painting it because this is actually an extra piece that's going to be going onto the side of the set of drawers that I've already made. So, and now all I have to do is put the top on to join all of them together. So that's the complete picture of what it actually looks like. This whole unit is made from cardboard boxes. If you'd like to see how to make the drawers, I'll leave a link in the description box below. The only differences with the drawers that I'll be showing you is the top one, which is this one, is not a drawer on the other video.